Man, all right. So, you're currently a sergeant. Um, okay. I guess before I ask the question, how long have you been a sergeant?
So I got promoted in 2017. So I've been a sergeant since then. I'm probably one of the oldest mortarman sergeants in the Marine Corps right now. As a matter of fact, I think I am, because the last time I checked the promotion page, I was number one out of 16 pages of Marines, and on each page is like 20-something Marines listed. So
Okay.
probably a little more, probably like 30.
Uh, so from what you've told me, and some of the other guys at the recruiting office as well, a lot of people, including Marines under your command, have gravitated towards you in the past or currently still do for guidance, including myself and even some of the poolees under your recruiting pool. Would you recall any times when you, as a Marine in a position of leadership, had to step in and be there for one of your Marines during a tough time? And how did you impact that Marine?
So, like, as far as others stepping in for my Marines, I've never really had to. As far as me stepping in for my Marines, all the time. There's countless occasions. When you get Marines under your command, it's one of the things that actually kept me in, because I did only plan to do, about 4 years or so and get out, but here I am 11 years later, and it's because of my Marines. It's like you get kids underneath you, and they're not even your kids, but you're taking care of them, and it is the most humbling experience ever, because they're from all walks of life. You got kids from broken homes, you got kids from well-off families, you got kids from the backwoods, middle of nowhere, or kids that are city boys, and it's just so interesting to pick their mind, get to know them, really get involved in their lives, and take care of them. And as far as getting involved with their lives, that is the sole duty of leadership in the Marine Corps. And if you think otherwise, you're absolutely crazy, because it's in our leadership principles and our foundation. You should always know your Marines and seek self-improvement. It's one of our leadership principles, and I'd like to think that I've done that. I really do. I don't like to put myself on a pedestal or anything. I'm just an average man doing average man things. But when it comes down to taking care of them, I'd like to think that I've done my job. There's from getting Red Cross messages for these guys, for being through heartfelt times where they were having troubles with, either financially or family oriented, just being there, being that essentially that ear to listen and that shoulder to lean on is the most humbling experiences you can have as a man. And just hearing a thank you come out of these guys is something that truly perplexes me sometimes, because and I get it, they're thanking me because they think I did a good job or something. I don't know why, but it's nice. It's nice to be able to help them, man. It's nice to be able to be there for them. It's nice to be involved in their lives, because they become a family to you. They really do. I still talk to these dudes. These dudes are EAS and retired out and all over the world, and I still talk to them, at least once a month. I'm still in group chats with a lot of them. We never leave each other, because in the Air Wing, I didn't really have that experience in the Air Wing. I know 5 guys out of the Air Wing, one of which I still talk to this day, but we were more akin to each other because of the way we bonded over the years. But as far as the infantry goes, I talk to these dudes on a daily basis, because I was just so involved in their lives. And I kind of also acclimate that to be me being a young leader in the Air Wing. I was only a lance and a corporal. I was only a sergeant for a little hot minute in the Air Wing before I went over to the infantry side. So I was really young to leadership, and I was more career driven at that time, where I was just kind of focused on myself and bettering myself. Whereas in the infantry, I was so honed in on bettering everybody else. I wanted everybody to... I had this you're going to take my place mentality, and there's a dichotomy of Marines there too. There's Marines, when you get in, there's hey, I grew up in the Marine Corps this way, this was done to me, so it's going to, happen to you. And then there's also Marines like me, who is you know, hey, I grew up this way, you know, this happened to me, but I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen to you. You know, I'm going to give you a good experience. And a lot of people really like that. They like the transparency. They like the care. They like the personalization to it. Like, I really, truly took care of my guys. They never got yelled at by leadership. I would always step in. You know, if there was Marines getting on my Marines, I'm like, hey, why are you getting on my Marine? You know, hey, I'll take care of them. Don't talk to my dude. Like, let me do that, you know. It's awesome, man. I love it. I still do it on recruiting too.
Yeah. Well, you know, and while we're on the topic, you know, from my perspective, you know, being under your recruiting pool, you definitely do really care for your guys. It's actually, you know, coming from a different recruiting area, most of the recruiters over there are more willing to screw over their guys rather than, you know, actually giving a crap about the individual and, you know, helping them out with their goals and improvement. But man, I just, while we're on the topic, I just want to thank you, man. I grew up in a broken home myself, and have a, you know, I'm grateful to be kind of taken into a family. But once I met you, you kind of became family as well. So, you know, you really are a good leader, and I thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
So eventually, okay, so you're currently on recruiting. So I guess you went from mortarman to recruiting duty. So what was the initial transition from your unit to recruiting duty like, and what made you choose recruiting?
So I got HISted when we were on deployment in the Middle East, and the HISted is HSST. It stands for Headquarters Special Selection Team. So they'll send out a list, right, every year or so. And what'll happen is, you know, people get out of this duty, they retire out, they get kicked out, etc. And it opens up spaces. So, you know, per the manual, you need a specific amount of Marines to man these posts. And when those spaces open up and they don't get enough volunteers, they will generate a list of the most qualified Marines around the Marine Corps, and they will select off that list randomly. We call it winning the lottery. It's not the lottery you want to win. And they'll select the most qualified Marines off the list, and pretty much you get voluntold into these positions. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. It is looked at as horrendous because everybody just wants to stay in their MOS. But sometimes it's like a break from your MOS, or sometimes it could be, you know, something that'll help you out for the promotion, because like some people's MOSs are slow to pick up, whereas these billets that they fill you in are fast tracks. You can get promoted really fast out of these.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately got HISted, and I thought I was good. I really did. I got combat wave the first time, then we got off ship. The next HIST list that I pumped out, I was on it again. I was like, oh man, come on now. But I got HISted, and they slapped down pretty much 2 packages in front of me, and they said, hey, I can either go drill instructor route or recruiting, because they were really hurting for Marines. They needed to fill those spaces. And I am not a yelly guy. I don't like yelling. I don't like screaming. It's just not something I do. I don't like thrashing around people or anything like that. I haven't yelled at anybody my entire, you know, 11 years of service, and I'm proud of that. I never had to. I can just talk to Marines, and they would know where they messed up, and I would also show them the way, you know. So obviously I chose recruiting. I was like, you know, wearing a uniform all the time, sweating around and thrashing around poor bald-headed kids while screaming at them just was not for me. And I don't necessarily like wearing my dress uniforms either way, so even recruiting was a bad choice to begin with. And it's just like, the transition was simple. You know, you sign the package, you fill it out, you get it back, which one's approved. Obviously recruiting for me came back approved. And I got a school seat, and the school is over in San Diego on the depot. So, you know, if you ever go through recruit training and you see guys in dress blues and stuff over there on the other side of the parade deck, that's the recruiter school. You know, those guys are doing their thing to learn how to become recruiters, and the drill instructor school is also over there as well. But yeah, I got a school seat. I went to San Diego, you know, for a little bit. Took a break from my MOS as a mortarman. Once I came back, I had like a month to do my thing, get everything packed, get everything sorted out before I took off again. And yeah, I ended up just chilling for like about a month, and then I ended up packing up and moving all the way out to Texas, because that's where I pretty much got my orders to. I got my orders to PCS Carrollton out in Dallas. And the transition was rough for me, man. Like, it was brutal for me because, one, I lateral moved to escape, from out behind the desk. And I finally got infantry, and I loved it, because I did 5 years air wing. I did 4.5 infantry, right?
Yeah.
And to get snatched up out of my MOS was really heart-wrenching for me. But we as Marines, we have this mindset where, we may not want to do it, but we understand it has to be done. And that is just something that always resonated in the back of my mind. Like, there was not a time where I was like, oh, I'm not going to do this, F this. We all wish we can, we probably are thinking it. But that's just not the, we care about the Marine Corps. I love the Marine Corps to the point where it's like, yeah, it put me here, it probably messed me over, but that's just the process, that's the way it goes. And yes, it's an ugly job, it's not something that people want to do, but it is an important job, and it's a job that needs to be done, because obviously we need to look for replacements for ourselves in the Marine Corps. I can't live forever. If I would, I'd be in here for thousands of years like the Space Marines and Warhammer, but that's just how it was. It was a really rough transition. I got out here, and at first I was really highly motivated about recruiting. I was doing my thing, everything like that. But me, I'm such a workaholic in the Marine Corps that when I get into a specific position or career, like, I start sacrificing my own health, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it with all the Red Bulls I drink.
Yeah.
I'm literally drinking one right now, and it's like I started sacrificing my own health for the betterment of my career. And it's not like I'm trying to better my career, pick up promotion, all that. It's more like I'm doing it for other people. Like, I tried to help out and assist making mission for our office. I try to help out and assist my police and all that. You see how I care for you guys.
Yeah.
And it just comes down to me just whittling away, because, like, with the infantry, it's in a culture where you naturally take care of yourself. Like, taking care of yourself is a part of the job. I have to be physically and combat fit, so that way I can, keep my guys alive, get them back home safely to the, their mamas and stuff. Whereas recruiting, I don't have any Marines under me. I just have police. And also, I don't really have a mission where it requires me to be, physically up to date. And I'm not saying I'm overweight or anything. I'm a big guy. It's just like my cardio has slacked. This is probably the unhealthiest I've ever been. Like, I feel like absolute crap on recruiting,
Yeah.
Get into like a depression rut and everything like that. But it's not like, I'm not going to let a job, essentially beat me down, I'm never going to let a job, like, completely turn my mental aspect into a spiral where I'm like, oh, you know what, I got to take myself from the face of the world. Nah. And what keeps me going, honestly, because recruiting does entail a lot of, bull crap, is really the police, man. It's you guys. You guys really do make the journey worth it. You guys really do make it enjoyable. Like, I love seeing people get on to their goals, and whether they join the Marine Corps or not, it doesn't matter. I just love being able to be that person to help somebody obtain their goal, or whether it's get off the streets or get out of their home state, or get those college funds finally paid off for so they can do their school, whether they do a 4 or full 20. It doesn't matter. It's so fun being able to see that silver lining and see a kid actually achieve their goal and do what I once did, you know? And it's awesome. It's humbling. But as far as, like, initially the MOS, overall, I hate recruiting. I don't have any passion for it. I've even told my leadership about that, like, to their faces, and I think my leadership appreciates my transparency with things, because I don't bull crap, I don't BS, I don't beat around the bushes, and I think they do appreciate me in that aspect. But as far as, like, the job, they know I hate it. They know I absolutely hate recruiting. They know that I do not like it. I have no taste for it, no talent for it, no passion for it. But if there is something that I do have a passion for, it is taking care of poolies and essentially treating them like, the Marines I once had under me, and I wouldn't change that for the world. That's another thing that where I don't have any regret about, Yeah, I went down this route, but I don't regret it. Even the stuff that's currently happening, don't regret it.
Man, I mean, and as far as taking care of people go, I've never once had a recruiter who, like, after PT would take at least 8 or 9 guys out to eat afterwards. That's I think I even sent you a meme about it, enlisting with the world's coolest recruiter looks like, and a bunch of guys sitting around the table eating pizza.
Yeah, pretty much, man. There's, nothing beats connecting with other people than, doing some really hard stuff, doing some gangster stuff, and then going and break bread after, whether it's you're roasting your friends or you're telling some tales. Like, it's always good to break bread with one another. It's always good to, pick people's brains and kind of just like, hey, man, like, how's life going? How's the family?
Yeah.
Just get an update, once a week. Check in on people, because that really hits home with a lot of folks, and I just don't think there's a lot of that going around in America these days, as sad as that is. And it definitely is a change of pace when somebody gets that treatment, because they're like, dang, this guy truly is like a mentor to me. It's like a stand-up guy, this dude truly does actually care about what we do and what we represent, and I wouldn't change that for anything.
Man, all right, well, man, that was a powerful portion to this, man. I'm telling you. Wow. All right, so so I guess I'll put 2 questions into one on this one. What is the fondest memory you have of your time in the Marine Corps up to this point? And the other half of that question would be, what is also the fondest memory of recruiting that you have?
So, oh man, where do I even start with that? There is so many memories that you make in the Marine Corps with, all the Marines that you serve with and everything like that. It's so hard to, wow, that one's a tough one. I'd say probably the fondest memory I've had in the Marine Corps would definitely be the times that I had with the kid. His name was Talon Gant, right? I mean, he's a Lance Corporal now, but I remember when he was a private, and I met him. And this was while I was in the infantry. A lot of the other squads, like, did not want him, because he had, like, a weird speech impediment and everything like that. It really wasn't even a speech impediment. If they just took the time to, understand him and know him, they would know that he's from Serbia and he has this weird lispy-like accent. But they were so quick to discard him. They were so quick to, because he was just a kid. He didn't know any better. He didn't know how the Marine Corps operates, and I think it was a cruel joke for his recruiter to toss him into infantry, to be honest. Because I think, honestly, Talon Gant is a great dude. He's a great human being. He's just such a good guy. He belongs somewhere better, because this is a place with just absolute brutal dudes. And he was just this soft-hearted, good-spirited kid, bright eyes, smiles all the time, even if he's get absolutely dunked on by the others. And my fondest memory with him, it definitely would be it definitely was in ITX. We were running MWX at the time. It was this other training exercise. It's like Marine Warfare cross training. That's what it stands for. And it was like a bunch of Marine units there. We had Royal Canadian Commandos out there. You name it. We had foreign nations actually doing this training. And one exercise, he fell asleep on the 240, and we all know as infantry that is like a huge no-no,
Yeah.
And I took him under my squad because I was like, they don't want him, I'll take him. I've always been known to take the underdogs and turn them into, absolute legends. And I took him under my squad, and my buddy was the one that actually told me that he fell asleep on 240 because I didn't catch that time. I was was pretty much with the other guys on the gun line, getting everything set up because we were ready to roll out to a next position. And he came over to me, he's like, hey man, he's like, you know your boy's over there asleep on the 240. I'm like, all right, I'll go talk to him. I'll go talk to him because I'm not a yell. I don't yell. A lot of Marines would get lit up over that, man. Probably be running up hills and stuff after that. But I'm just not that guy. I'm a huge on the crime. The punishment has to fit the crime, and I'm also huge on like just not yelling at people. I don't believe in it. Especially like if you instill trust in your Marines, they're gonna take your word over you yelling or a sheet of paper any day. And so I went up there, I pretty much just kneeled down to him, and he woke up at this point, like he knew he messed up, he's scared, everything like that. He's just wide-eyed, still in the prone position on 240, and I'm just kneeled down next to him. I'm like, hey man, why are you asleep on the 240, bro? And He was honest. That's what I loved about Gant. He was just such a blunt, upfront dude. He straight up. He was like, oh Sergeant, I was just tired. And I'm like, I get it, dude. I was like, I wholeheartedly get it. I'm like, we're all tired out here. We're up all day. We rarely get any sleep. We're constantly moving throughout the night. I get it, man. Life of the infantry. And I was like, but that is something that we have to do. I was like, you also have to ensure that your boys are going to make it home safe. And I straight up told him, I'm like, how are you going to keep your boys safe behind your eyelids? How are you going to keep your boys safe when your eyes are closed and you can't even see the enemy in front of you and they're creeping up on your position? I was like, you know how easy it would be to come up here and cut your throat wide open and you'd be cooked just like that. Now just go right after the rest of your boys while they're in their sleep. And I was like, dude, this is the first time you ever done this, I was like, don't disappoint me like this again, man. I was like, do not fall asleep on these guns. It is super important. And that's what I said. That is all I said. I got up. I walked back to, to the back of the Humvee, the JLTV. We had Humvees and JLTVs. And pretty much went back to getting all my stuff prepped for moving out to the next position. And I shit you not, my boy comes up to me again and he's like, dude, what did you say to him? And I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, wait, I just talked to him about just not doing it again. He's like, dude, your boy is in full tears right now. poor Gantz over here, tears down the face. He's not like bawling, like crying or wailing, but you could see him, he was sniffling and everything, and it resonated with me, it was a really fond moment because it was like, that's the trust that kid had in me. He had so much love and aspiration for me as some sort of a statute or a figure in his life where he respected me that much that just me saying that to him got to him more than, making him run or yell. Like, this kid's been through the ringer in the Marine Corps, he's been totally overrun laps. He's been yelled at, screamed at by all these other squad leaders. But me, I just talked to him, and I got more of a response out of him than anybody else has, ever has. And it was really a fond moment for me. And it's funny because, like, now he's a squad leader. He's an FDC chief. This kid's crushing it, man. He's over in LAR. He's doing his thing, and he's a perfectionist at his craft. And I couldn't be more proud of him. I wish I talked to him, I think, a couple months ago, and it was pretty interesting. He's a good kid. I wish nothing but the best for him. As far as the police side goes, I'd say the fondest moment with police would be with my original 3. I got here and replaced the old recruiter, and he kind of left them in the dust. They were in a folder called the projects, which is kind of messed up if you think about it. Yeah. And I guess these are kids that got kicked back from maps. They had something wrong with them. Either way, these kids weren't being worked. These kids were not being worked, and it was getting on my dang on nerves. And these kids were going to PTs and stuff like that, and this is when I first got to recruiting, and I straight up hit them up, and I'm like, hey man, I'm like, what are you guys doing with your life and stuff like that, you know? And they're like, oh, we're trying to join the Marine Corps and everything like that. And I'm like, you know, has Colander ever like worked you guys? Anything like that? And he's like, yeah, we're in the works, you know, we've been up the maps once and everything like that, you know, X, Y, and Z. And I was like, this is crazy, you know, because like they're not being worked. I saw that they were not being worked. They never had any waivers submitted or anything like that, and I started working these kids. I told them, I was like, hey man, I'm gonna let you guys know, I'm not gonna let you down. I'm not gonna give up on you. You know, I'm gonna get you into the Marine Corps because that's what you want. You came here to do. That's what you want to do. I'm gonna get you in no matter what. You know, even if it's until we get like a definite no, you can't join. I'm gonna try whatever I can in my power to, you know, essentially get you in. And it was crazy. You know, I went to doctor's appointments with these kids. I went to the pharmacies with these kids to get their records and stuff like that. I was doing whatever I could in my power to get these kids in because that's what they wanted, man. That's what they came there for. And to see the other recruiter kind of leave them in the dust was kind of heartbreaking. But that kind of opened my eyes when I got to recruiting too.
Because of that Deuteronomy. I think you've said this before, the Deuteronomy of Marines that are on recruiting duty.
Yeah, the dichotomy of Marines, because you got Marines that are just, and I get it, man. You know, you get out of your MLS, you just want to survive, everything like that. So like, you got Marines that are recruiters that are there for the numbers. They got a quota to make. You know, the quota is not a myth. Yeah, they got a quota to make. They got a mission to make. They got numbers they got to produce. And it really does stress you out, but there's also Marines that don't care about the numbers. They don't care about any of that. They just want to do them, and they'll do whatever they have to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And, that was a humble moment for me, was getting them in and seeing them off to graduation, because, like, that, it was so awesome. And each one of them did graduate. They're Marines now, currently, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
Man, that's powerful right there. There's not many people like you, like nowadays, so.
Yeah, well, you know, times are different these days, unfortunately.
Man, all right, we'll take a little break real quick.
Alrighty, man.